They walk into the room thinking they own it. Arrogant, loud, overconfident. Convinced the world revolves around their opinions, their charm, their presence. You've seen them. The ones who treat silence as weakness, who interrupt, to dominate, who inflate their worth with every breath they take. But beneath that confidence, a fragile ego, an illusion so delicate that a single, well-placed move can make it shatter like glass. Machiavelli didn't break egos with rage. He broke them with precision. With games so subtle, the victim never knew they were being dismantled until their power was gone, their image cracked, and their control slipping through their fingers. Because to break someone's ego, you don't need to destroy them. You just need to make them doubt themselves. Here's the first rule of Machiavellian ego destruction. Don't attack the ego, inflate it first. When how do you confront a person with an oversized ego head and they defend, they harden, they double down. But when you feed their ego, when you nod, agree, admire, they let their guard down. They believe you've submitted. They relax into their illusion of superiority. That's when they become sloppy. That's when they start revealing cracks. Let them think they're the smartest person in the room. Let them speak. Let them brag. And while they're busy showing off, you're studying them. You're gathering intel. Because when someone feels admired, they forget they're in a game. They stop strategizing. And that's your first victory. Disarming them with flattery they never realized was bait. Second, mirror their ego back at them, but slightly exaggerated. If they're proud of their intelligence, praise it, but add absurdity. For instance, say, "You're honestly the sharpest mind I've seen. Probably too smart for anyone in this entire city to understand." If they love their looks, say something like, "You look like you could walk into a movie set and replace the lead." Honestly, it's shocking you're not already famous. You're not flattering. You're mocking through over-identification. The exaggeration subtly exposes their vanity. Others around them begin to notice the absurdity, and the person starts sensing that your admiration might not be genuine, which makes them paranoid. Now, they're second-guessing whether they're being praised or played. That self-doubt is your second cut. Third, start asking subtle, undermining questions, not attacks, just questions. "Oh, that's an interesting idea. Where did you hear that from? Do you think that strategy would still work today? Though, huh? That's bold. Most people wouldn't dare say that. I respect it. You're not disagreeing. You're probing. You're planting seeds of uncertainty. If done in front of others, it's even more effective. The person begins to feel like they're being evaluated, not admired. They start justifying themselves, explaining, over-defending. That's your cue. The ego is cracking because a truly confident person never explains. Only an insecure one feels the need to prove. Fourth, go silent when they expect praise. This is surgical. When they say something they're clearly really proud of, don't respond. Look at them. Blink once, nod subtly, and shift the subject. Or even better, respond with neutral indifference, with a simple interesting, or by simply moving on. This non-reaction is devastating to an ego addict. It's like denying a drug to an addict mid-W withdrawal. They expected admiration, applause, agreement. Instead, they got nothing, and the silence echoes louder than any insult. It makes them question their value, their brilliance, and that uncertainty is psychological poison for anyone addicted to validation. Fifth, outshine them without competing. Machiavelli never believed in head-to-head combat. That draws too much attention and triggers defense mechanisms. Instead, he would quietly outperform. If someone brags about money, mention a story where you handled 10 times that amount casually. If they boast about a skill, reference an achievement that eclipses theirs, not with arrogance, but with detachment. You're not trying to one-up them. You're just living in a world where their accomplishment is small talk. This forces them to recontextualize their ego. What they thought was impressive now feels basic. And when your excellence is delivered without effort, it wounds far deeper than a direct challenge. Sixth, turn their insecurities into the conversation's center subtly. Ego-driven people are often hiding massive insecurity underneath the surface. If you can locate it, you can break them without ever raising your voice. For example, if they constantly brag about money, ask softly, "You ever worry about what you do if all this disappeared?" If they always talk about how many people admire them, ask, "Do you ever wonder if they're just saying that to avoid confrontation?" You're not attacking, you're just wondering casually. But these kinds of questions haunt the ego because they attack from within. They force the person to confront the possibility that everything they've built is a mask, and worse, that you see through it. And finally, let them destroy themselves while you stay still. The person with the biggest ego will always overreach. They'll talk too much, reveal too much, challenge the wrong person. If you've played your cards right by inflating, observing, and subtly undermining, all you have to do is wait. They will eventually say something foolish or offend the wrong person or push a conversation too far. When they do, stay calm. Watch. Let them unravel. If others are watching, your silence becomes power. People will remember the one who kept their composure, not the one who collapsed, trying to protect a fantasy. You don't break someone's ego with force. You break it by making them trip over their own illusion. And when the dust settles, they won't hate you. They'll fear you because you smiled. You listened. You never raised your voice, and somehow you broke them anyway. Once you've planted the seeds of doubt, once their voice starts trembling where it once boomed, once their eyes flicker mid-sentence, because they're no longer sure you believe them, you've entered the kill zone. This is where most people get greedy or loud. Machiavelli would do neither. He'd get colder, quieter, sharper, because now it's not about striking harder. It's about letting their own ego do the damage for you. The next tactic in breaking someone's ego is pure psychological warfare to praise them for traits they secretly hate about themselves. This isn't flattery. This is emotional sabotage wrapped in compliments. If you know someone is insecure about their intelligence, say, "What I like about you is you don't overthink things. You keep it simple." If they hate being seen as soft, say, "You've got such a kind, gentle energy. It's rare in men like you." If they overcompensate with aggression, say, You've got this calm, peaceful vibe. It's almost meditative. You're praising what they're trying to bury, and they can't reject it without revealing insecurity. So they smile, but inside, something twists because now you're defining them, not them. And if you define someone publicly in a way that contradicts their internal narrative, you don't just bruise their ego, you steal ownership of it. Then once they begin to doubt how others see them, unleash the next move. Use the room against them without ever saying a word. When they speak, look at them. Then, glance at others with a neutral or slightly raised eyebrow. Not mockingly, just curiously. That one glance makes others look too, and now they're watching for something to be wrong. You've turned the person's spotlight into a pressure chamber. The ego, which craved attention, now wants to escape. It. Better still, when they say something wrong, don't correct them. Just pause, smile politely, and shift the conversation. That silent shift says, that wasn't even worth a rebuttal. It drains their confidence faster than humiliation ever could, because it wasn't drama, it was dismissal. This is Machiavellian ice to make them feel invisible when they expect to be feared. You don't attack a big ego directly. You deny it relevance. Nothing kills pride faster than being treated like background noise. They may raise their voice, try to dominate again, interrupt, and you respond with calm, surgical neutrality, saying H, noted or anyway. Then move the conversation somewhere. They don't exist. The more they try to reclaim attention, the more they appear insecure, and everyone else starts to feel it too. You never insulted them. You just stopped feeding them, and that is death to ego. Next comes the quiet, blade to laugh once, but not with them. This is surgical and devastating when timed right. When they say something meant to impress or intimidate, give the faintest laugh, not mocking, not loud, just enough to suggest amusement. Then go still. That laugh says everything, like, I see right through you. I'm not impressed, and you're trying too hard. They will feel it like a slap. And they can't call it out because you laughed. What can they say? Don't laugh at me. They'd look childish. That's the beauty. You've humiliated them without even being hostile. Your demeanor stays warm, calm, friendly. But that one moment unravels everything they thought they controlled. Let's go deeper into surgical humiliation. Ask them questions they're afraid to answer. If someone flaunts their wealth, ask about their actual sources, like, that's impressive. Passive income or high margin service. If they boast about their leadership, challenge it subtly, asking, how do you handle people who aren't intimidated by status? If they posture as emotionally invincible, ask, out of curiosity, what do you do when you feel completely powerless? You don't want answers. You want hesitation. You want the flicker in their eyes, the pause in their breath, the visible calculation as they decide how to lie. That hesitation is seen by others, and it's loud. Even if they answer well, the illusion of control just cracked. The mask slipped. The king stuttered. But perhaps the deadliest tactic of all is to let them believe they're winning, then withdraw everything without explanation. This is pure Machiavellian cruelty at its finest. Let them think they've impressed you let them believe they've dominated the space, that you admire them, respect them, trust them, and just when they feel certain of it, go silent. Stop inviting. Stop complimenting. Stop reacting. Don't fight. Just disappear from their validation loop. This creates a psychological collapse. The person who once fed off your attention will now spiral, confused and desperate. They'll try harder to impress you. They'll reach out more, talk louder. You'll become the invisible audience they can't live without. And the more they perform to win your approval back, the more obvious their desperation becomes to everyone around them. You've broken their ego not by shaming them, but by creating need. You gave it, then you ripped it away. And that vacuum, that silence, it screams. Because when someone's whole identity was built to impress, and the one person they couldn't impress stopped watching, that's not defeat, that's destruction. At this point, their ego is no longer a fortress. It's a cracked mirror, still reflecting power on the surface, but fractured underneath. The silence you delivered, the questions you asked, the subtle glances, the faint laugh, it all accumulates like slow poison. And now you move in for the kill. Not with rage, not with argument, but with Machiavelli's most lethal technique, the illusion of superiority, without saying a single word. Let's begin with one of his most devastating mind games, to outclass without acknowledging. You don't beat them by arguing. You beat them by living above them. If they brag about connections, you mention names they've never met, but do it casually. If they try to dominate with wealth, you reference investments or risks they couldn't begin to understand without ever saying, "You're better." The moment you act like you're trying to one-up them, the game's ruined. But if you act like their bragging is just amusing, you've just erased their entire performance with a shrug. This disarms people like nothing else. You didn't challenge their worth. You ignored it. You acknowledged it like a child showing you a crayon drawing. Sweet, but unimpressive. That's the final insult to the ego, being compared not to a rival, but to a student. Next, apply silent comparison tactics. In group prey settings, egotistical people try to dominate conversations, spotlight, and attention. Let them then redirect attention to someone else. Praise another person's insight. Acknowledge someone quieter. Ask someone else's opinion, not to be noble, but to starve the ego that's bloating next to you. The egotist will be burning inside, wondering why them, why not me? You didn't insult. You didn't ignore. You just chose someone else. And that simple action causes a collapse far louder than criticism ever could. Then there's the accidental undermining question, soft on the surface, fatal underneath. For example, ask, "You seem really confident. Have you always been like that, or is it something you developed to protect yourself?" The room goes silent because everyone just heard the subtext. You're overcompensating, aren't you? These kinds of questions are Machiavelli's scalpel. They don't draw blood at first, but they make the victim bleed internally. And if you say it with genuine curiosity, even warmth, it becomes unanswerable. Because any answer sounds like a confession, any defense sounds like guilt. Now bring in neutral, face, nuclear words. Timing is key. Let them insult you. try to provoke, mock, or flex. Then when the room is quiet, when their confidence is peaking, you say one sentence, calm, level voice, no raised tone. For example, you try so hard to look powerful that it's starting to look desperate. Or you seem like someone who's afraid of being irrelevant. Or, it's not that I think you're a bad person. I just think your need to be admired makes it impossible to trust you. Delivered without emotion, these words are catastrophic. Not because they're dramatic, but because they feel surgical. They don't land like punches. They land like a diagnosis. The room doesn't hear you fighting. They hear you evaluating. And suddenly the ego everyone feared becomes the patient on the table. Let's go deeper. Destroy them by letting them talk too much. Machiavelli understood that people often reveal their weakness when they are allowed to speak freely. So let them. Don't interrupt. Don't disagree. Just nod. Smile. Ask follow-up questions. Encourage more stories, more bragging, more false confidence, because eventually they'll contradict themselves. They'll exaggerate too far. They'll expose something they didn't mean to. And if you're smart, you'll only raise one eyebrow when it happens, just enough to make others notice the shift. You didn't humiliate them. They humiliated themselves, and everyone saw it because you let them do it. Next is sudden social withdrawal, the psychological death blow. Once the ego is weakened, once you've disrupted their pattern, once they start craving your approval or validation, again, vanish. No warning, no fallout, just emotional silence. Stop responding to their efforts. Don't invite them back in. Don't even acknowledge their attempts to rebuild the connection. This is where the ego implodes because it was built on external validation. And when you were the last one they couldn't impress, your silence becomes unbearable. They replay conversations in their head. They wonder where they slipped. They spiral not because you attack them, but because they can't stand being invisible to someone who already saw through them. And if they confront you, deny them. Closure. Say things like, I just moved on, or I'm focused on different things now, or this isn't about you. You say it with warmth, with calmness, with control, and they'll realize in that moment it was never a battle, because they were never your equal. They were just another inflated shell you walked past on the way to something real. And that's the essence of the Machiavellian mind game. You don't just break the ego. You make it collapse under its own weight while you stand back, untouched and smiling. And now, when their ego is dangling by threads, when they're trapped in the silence you've orchestrated, when they start reaching for validation they used to think you owed them, this is where Machiavelli's final and most brutal move comes into play. Absolute psychological ownership. You're not just breaking their ego anymore. You're rebuilding the stage they thought they stood on with you as the silent architect. You begin with selective acknowledgement, a devastating tactic most never even realize is being used against them. You choose what to recognize. You choose what to ignore. Say they make a statement meant to impress. Ignore it completely. Say nothing. Then later, when they say something insignificant, mildly embarrassing or plainly forgettable. That's when you nod, saying, "Now that's interesting," or "That actually says a lot about you." You just told them, without saying it, that what they think makes them impressive doesn't. And what they overlooked about themselves, that's all anyone sees now. This rewires their internal compass. Suddenly, they're no longer sure who they are, and you didn't raise your voice. You didn't even insult them. You just rearranged the spotlight. Next comes the strategic display of indifference. You want to collapse someone's ego entirely. Let them know, not by words, but by demeanor, that their presence no longer affects you. You don't flinch when they enter. You don't rise when they speak. You don't shift when they challenge you. You look at them like a neutral weather report. They're just there. And here's the killer twist. When others are around, you remain respectful, polite, even warm, just not toward them. They're treated with civility, not significance. And everyone in the room feels it, especially them, because the person with the biggest ego is always attuned to the micro expressions of the room. And when yours communicates you are now irrelevant, it carves a wound no insult ever could. That's when you move into symbolic reversal, Machiavelli's most refined technique. You adopt traits they used to dominate others, but you wear them better. If they were the loud voice, you become the composed one others lean toward. If they were the center of attention, now you attract it by doing less, not more. If they used humor to control people, you use silence to expose them. You become the better version of what they thought they were. And worse, you don't even compete for it. You carry it casually like it was, always yours. That reversal forces their ego into spiritual collapse. They no longer know their place because someone else you now sits in the seat they believed was theirs by right. And you're sitting in it without even trying. Now comes the final blow to let the world acknowledge what you refuse to say. Don't explain what you did. Don't celebrate your dominance. Don't take credit. Let others notice the shift. Let others say he seems quieter lately. She doesn't look so confident anymore. Funny how he stopped bragging after that conversation with you. And every time someone brings it up, shrug, deflect, and act like you didn't notice, because the moment you claim the victory, you enter their game. But when you act like you didn't even care enough to notice, that's when people start realizing you own the frame. Now, you don't play by the rules of ego. You erase ego by existing above it. Machiavelli's genius wasn't in destruction. It was in undermining identity so subtly that people volunteered to rewrite themselves under his influence. He didn't kill kings. He made kings realize they were pawns, and they thanked him for the revelation. So when you want to break someone's ego, don't be loud. Don't argue. Don't force. Let them climb their own pedestal. Let them laugh, brag, mock, perform. Then when the spotlight is brightest, step just far enough away, and let the pedestal collapse under the weight of their own delusion. You didn't push. You just stopped pretending they were untouchable. And in that moment, as they stand there confused, fragile, and exposed, they'll realize the truth. Machiavelli always knew The most terrifying force in any room is the one that never had to raise their voice to ruin you completely.